Moin und herzlich willkommen hier wieder bei The Hobbyist in der Kategorie Gaming mit dem Spiel Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of New York. Folge Nummer 12. Ja, diese Folge hat es in sich, das ist so ein kleines, ich sag mal, Potpourri aus verschiedensten, neuen Begegnungen, würde ich mal sagen. Ich wünsche euch viel Spaß damit. Willkommen zurück bei Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of New York. Diesmal schauen wir uns an, wer hier hinter der Verfolgung steckt. Aber bevor wir das machen, müssen wir erstmal einmal resten. Oha. Es ist so viel Kram hier. Also ich frage mich manchmal, ob bestimmte Dinge auch wieder wegfallen oder ob wir das alles spielen müssen oder werden. Das ist schon ganz schön viel Holz, was sie einem hier bieten. Das finde ich schon nicht schlecht. Was ist denn er hier für einer? Arthur. Okay, ich muss mal eben wieder... Das ist echt doof hier mit dem... Ich gucke mal eben an, was wir hier so haben. A noisy reporter. There's a sleazy reporter from a gossip magazine sniffing around Sophie's Haven. Oha. She could use your help with the problem. Das wäre auch nicht schlecht. Was war mit ihm hier? Juno and Agathon. Juno, the notes. You find the mystery of Agathon's research tantalizing enough to pay him a visit. Faith and myth. You've received an invitation to meet a mysterious someone at the Cathedral of St. John in the Divine. Und das hatten wir gerade schon. Somebody's watching me. Recently you're feeling as somebody keeps tailing you. Time to confirm your suspicions. So, dann stellen wir mal eben wieder um. Ich weiß, es ist nervig, aber das ist nun mal leider ein Bug im Spiel. Und ich möchte gerne in der vollen Breite spielen. So, deswegen nehmen wir sie. Somebody is watching me. Obwohl ich auch wieder Bock auf die Angel habe. Das machen wir vielleicht in der nächsten Folge. Someone is following you around. It's been for a few nights, maybe longer. That can't be a good thing. The only question is what to do about it. Provoke the stalker to appear. Tell Sophie you have a problem. Ich will das für mich selber regeln. You venture out to the street with the goal of letting your stalker know you're aware of being followed. It's time to stop this ridiculous charade. It's raining outside, and as you step onto the street in front of your haven, you wonder whether that will help you. Will you be able to see the footprints of your stalker in puddles on the ground? Not sure where to start, you slip a few bills to a homeless man and shut up the guy who runs the local bodega. Both talk your ear off about strange characters hanging around, but none of their stories seem right to you. Walking the streets, you are by turns convinced that everyone you see is an enemy agent out to get you and that your stalker has decided to take a night off. Frustrated after a couple of hours of useless searching, you cross the road without looking where you're going. A courier on a motorbike zooms towards you, not having enough time to brake or swerve as you suddenly step in his way. For a split second, your eyes meet those of the man on the bike, and you both know you will collide. You'll get hurt. Something hits you, pushes you forward. You tumble, flying to the sidewalk as the courier zooms past. You feel a weight on your back, catch a glimpse of something. A person, female you think. And then she disappears. You could spend a couple more hours trying to find the woman who's stalking you, but in your shriveled, undead heart, you know it's to be futile. She's gone. Das war's schon? Ach, ich sehe schon. Das habe ich vorher noch nicht gesehen, dass er hier halbe Schritte macht. Das heißt, jetzt wahrscheinlich ist die Hälfte der Nacht rum, nur wegen dieser Begegnung. Ja, das Ganze hat mal nur 4 Minuten gedauert. Okay, vielleicht gehen wir dann doch nochmal zu diesem Church-Typen, bevor ich mich wieder den richtigen Charakteren widme. Ich bin gespannt, was es mit sich auf sich hat. Das klang so ein bisschen nach Falle, aber wir schauen mal. You haven't been to a church since you became a vampire, or kindred as the euphemism goes. You've had to focus on concrete, practical things like survival and feeding. You've learned the essentials of the vampire experience, but you don't really have a clear idea of what it all means. The Cathedral of St. John the Divine is a New York landmark. Ich glaube, da war ich sogar auch schon mal. You've been inside once before when you were much younger. You marveled at its Gothic facade. Looking at it now from across the street, it feels ominous. Sieht doch schon krass aus mit dem roten Schein. The prospect of an anonymous invitation to a secret meeting is a worrying one, but the venue is well chosen. It's hard to imagine a violent attack in a place like this, with eyes everywhere. You enter the cathedral discreetly. You've quickly learned this is an essential skill for a vampire. How to move without anyone noticing you. The full force of the cathedral's architecture hits you as you walk between the pews. If the architect meant to create the feeling of being small in the face of God's glory, mission accomplished. Based on the note, you're assuming that whoever you're meeting is somewhere in the front. As you step closer to the high altar, it feels as something is dragging at your feet, as if the stone beneath you resisted your movement. Religion is superstition. Vampires are satanic creatures. Does God still listen to you? It's been a long time since you prayed. You wonder whether God listens to creatures like you. Fatalistically, you take a step, then another. You're not sure if your God is present in this cathedral, but perhaps it doesn't matter. What you feel is real enough. There's an old man sitting in the front. You see only the back of his head, bowed down in a silent prayer. Your footsteps echo on the floor and he turns to look at you. You can't take your eyes off him. He's tall, dignified, white hair balding, a few strands escaping to the sides. He's wearing glasses and simple clerical clothing. His eyes are warm and pale, too kind for someone like you. Something is wrong. You feel heavy, as if a giant hand was pressed you down. The skin on your face is burning. Perhaps unconsciously you expected something like this, as a vampire walking into a cathedral. Only it's not the building or God making you feel like you're burning alive. It's the man, the priest. Haben wir es hier mit einem wahren Gläubigen zu tun? Welcome, my child. The priest's tone is kind, but the rising panic inside is telling you that kindness is not for the likes of you. Vielleicht kriege ich hier mal was raus, was... Ja, ich mach mal. The only way to understand these painful feelings is to push forward and confront the priest. As you step closer to the priest, panic rises inside you. The emotions are hard to control. Fear, anger, pain, all trying to wrestle you in different directions. Away. Can I help you? Are you okay? The priest talks to you like he would a lost vagrant who has chosen to enter the house of God. Ich finde ihn too? Like he would to a lost vagrant? Ich glaube, manchmal sind die Texte nicht so ganz geil. How are you doing this? I'm afraid I don't understand. It's simply too much. You mutter something incoherent in reply. You don't sound like a vampire and undead being made powerful by immortal blood. You're just another sad, confused, lost soul. You turn around and stagger away, only feeling like yourself once you're back on the street outside. You stand on the sidewalk, confused and scared. No enemies seem to be attacking you. The priest didn't follow you. The night air is wet with the smells of the city, the same as every night. Und da kommt der vom Porträt. How did it feel? You look at the man speaking to you. He's well dressed, if a little archaic, dark-haired, handsome, like a character from an old movie. He smiles as if he knows something you don't. You glance around. There are people on the street. You don't appear to be in immediate danger. Who the fuck are you? Please calm down, I'm not your enemy. Let me introduce myself. My name is Benoit Segal. We share many things in common, even if you don't know me. Benoit offers his hand to you. Na gut, komm. Benoit's handshake is firm and dry. He looks at you intently, as if trying to find something in your eyes. Would you mind sitting with me for a moment? Benoit points to a park bench nearby, in darkness because of a broken streetlight. Worry, you decide to follow him. Only an enemy totally unconcerned with the masquerade would attack you here. Benoit sits down and you follow suit. For a moment you both contemplate the cathedral in silence. I know how it feels, what you just felt. I have experienced it myself many times. For a moment you consider how to respond. It's clear Benoit sent the invitation to come here and orchestrated this little setup. What's the point? Why did you go to the trouble of getting me here? We share a connection, you and I. I explain it later, but right now the important thing is that it's so much easier to show than to tell. I wanted you to meet Father Anthony, or see him, experience him. Did you wonder why it felt like that? Is it a supernatural power? Was it some kind of supernatural power? No, not at all. I don't think so. It's his faith that makes you feel like that. He's safe in his belief, while you are one of the damned. Do you ever wonder what's the role of a vampire in God's creation? Da trinke ich doch noch mal was. You stop to think. Of course, you've wondered what this is all about. Whether it's about God or nature, you don't really know what being a vampire means. That's the trouble with the masquerade. A human faced with a human problem can go online and find something that helps. You can't. The masquerade means that everything there is to know about your condition is secret, hidden away. You're left relying on the unreliable opinions of people like Benoit. Suddenly, Benoit takes your hand and presses it against his chest. As he stares into your eyes, you feel his heart stop. My heart no longer beats, yet I move, I talk. Is that how God intended us to be? No, can't be. There's a natural explanation. Let me go. No, he didn't. I know he didn't. This is wrong. Yes, I agree. The question is, can there be salvation for the likes of us? Sometimes I'm skeptical too, but in Father Anthony's presence, I know faith is real. I know it because it hurts so much, but perhaps if you have questions about faith and our kind. How do you know any of these stories are true? How do you know any of these stories are true? I don't. How could I know? This is what faith is. You have to believe something. God and evil, right and wrong, love and hate. I believe we're damned. I also believe that there's an always hope, grace. Father Anthony's faith shows me the way. It's so easy for us to lose ourselves in a morass of occult speculation. Some of our kind revere Cain, others Lilith. Many in the Camarilla places their faith in the invisible guidance of the Methuselahs who are supported to watch over us. Yet I wonder how much that really matters when compared to the character of a good man. Did I come here just to talk about religion, Pastor Naventro? Did you have anything else? Or did I come here just to talk about religion? I know it's overwhelming. It was for me when I first met Father Anthony. I know there are others like him. Both faith, das kann ich fast nicht aussprechen, shines like a beacon. Priests, old ladies, children, anyone can have that conviction inside them. This is too much. I have to pray for guidance. This is too much. You expect me to go along with all this insanity? Benoit nods patiently. Let's meet again in a few nights, here at the cathedral. We can talk more after you've thought it through. You leave Benoit sitting in the shadow of the cathedral, contemplating what lies within. It would be easier to ignore his words without the reality of what you experienced. Father Anthony was holy. You know it to be true, but what does that mean? Da wäre es schon wieder Zeit zu schlafen, aber wir haben erst eine Viertelstunde gespielt. Ich würde einfach noch ein bisschen was dranhängen. Ich schätze mal, wenn ich jetzt hier drauf klicke, ja, you need to rest. Ja, jetzt ist eine gute Frage. Diese Episoden hier mit unseren NSCs, die scheinen ein bisschen länger zu gehen. Und diese Dinger hier, wo Part 1 steht, die sind ein bisschen kürzer. Das heißt, ich werde mich gleich mal um diesen Reporter kümmern. Das heißt, aber erstmal müssen wir schlafen. Vielleicht passiert was ganz anderes. Kadir al-Asmai, the sheriff of New York City, is knocking at the door to your haven. The sight comes as more than a little shock. If he had business with you, you'd either expect him to see him already inside, or never see him coming at all. Yet there he is, on the other side of the peephole, patiently and politely waiting you to let him in. You carefully unlock the door and face him in silence. Evening. May I come in? You simply stare at him. Your lack of an answer doesn't faze him, and your lack of resistance as he starts walking inside has obviously been interpreted as a permission. Once inside, he starts looking around as you cautiously stay by the door. You haven't really had the time to make this place your own yet, have you? It feels like Langley's apartment through and through. A secluded study where nobody studies anything. Look at the books on the shelf, obviously meant to impress the guests, not to be read. They reveal nothing about their owner, aside from an aching desire to be taken seriously as an intellectual. He picks one of them up and smirks before putting it away. The phenomenology of spirit, next to all of this garbage poetry. We can make a bet. If she's read more than 20 pages, I owe you $50 and a gallon of blood. A kind of place self-professed hermits entomb themselves into suffer. Considering how much you have to turn around these nights, you probably only use it to shelter from the sun and rest, right? Even though he's obviously making an effort to come off as non-threatening, it's impossible to forget the first impression he's made. You still see him as a fierce predator, trying hard not to expose his true colors. You sense a familiar fight or flight response as you struggle to find a diplomatic answer to his last question. If Kadir is bothered by your silence, he doesn't let it show. He keeps walking around, toying with whatever catches his eye. Eventually he speaks up again. Watched any baseball lately? If I had to guess, you strike me as a Red Sox fan. Now he's inviting you to talk in a more direct manner. You attempt to overcome your physical reaction to him and reply as casually as you can. Okay. Yeah. Your mind keeps going back to that night when everything has changed forever. Waking up in hell with a body next to you. Spending a night in that underground sweatbox, unsure what's gonna happen next. That endless car ride, 3 strikes, a bloodthirsty crowd, that blade. A rebirth, a baptism by fire, a frightening executioner who made sure the flames scared your spirit. As you look into his face, you realize he has read your emotions from yours. Not in the mood to exchange pleasantries, huh? There is no animosity in his voice. He's just stating a fact. Let me get straight to the point then. He momentarily stops caring about his surroundings, turning all of his attention to you and demanding the entirety of your attention in return. You see, there's something I realized over the years. In a large part, I may have been hired just to look menacing with a sword, but my job is all about seeing through bonds and relationships. The Camarilla won't be safe as long as its members adhere to certain social contracts, making their dealings and affinities plain for everyone to see. But that obviously remains a pipe dream. This is a community of born conspirators. Overly ambitious gangsters and politicians, monsters in denial, all sorts of tragically broken individuals. They're driven by desires that make them incompatible with the Masquerade, incompatible with prolonged survival of the Camarilla, incompatible with the methods I used to operate. And so I'm doomed to be like a cop, constantly insulted behind my back, and maybe for a good reason, but immediately called for help whenever someone loses their tableware. Or like a Christie novel detective, outwardly assisted by everyone but constantly lied to about everyone's past and motivations, even when my failure to solve the mystery might be the end of us all. He tries to sound like he's peacefully resigned to his fate, but it's easy to detect a tinge of regret in his voice, a voice belonging to someone who once had bigger ambitions than this. What broke him? So you see, for this detective, the why done it is far more important than who done it or how done it. When you understand all the players and their mutual obligations, you easily understand every crime. But of course, the kindred know it, so they devise ways to make my job much harder, such as conspiracies between 2 unrelated actors that depend on scratching each other's back for mutual security. Or they enforce a blood bond to make someone unexpected their thrall, a boss serving their employee, a rebel serving the tyrant, just because one is regularly being forced to drink another's blood. What has Sophie seen in you? Why does the prince keep asking me about your actions? How come you're being pushed to build your own coteries so fast? So fast, huh? Hurt. You're surrounded by unclear motivations you yourself don't understand. That unnerves me, and it should unnerve you as well. This monologue has gone on for long enough. Why are you here? What is this about? Finally, you manage to raise your voice. Kadir noticed the effort and smiles softly. So you haven't gone mute since the last time I saw you? Good. Well, I'm here for a selfish reason. I need to develop a rapport with you to fulfill my obligations better. The last time we've met, I couldn't see you as my equal. Now that you're accepted into the Camarilla, what choice do I have? I'd understand if you didn't want to see my face again, but I'm one of the faces of New York City community. As long as you're a part of it, it's going to be impossible to avoid me. Especially when I have business with you, and I do. As you might have guessed by now, one of my tasks is uncovering and understanding your bonds, and one of them might endanger our community. Wer könnte das wohl sein? Well, that's not menacing at all. Who is he talking about? You mean someone I'm trying to recruit into my coterie? Kadir shakes his head. I'm monitoring them and they know it. If they are breaking the rules, they're doing it the right way, meaning I haven't learned about it yet. Unless you might want to share something. A moment of awkward silence. Joking, mostly. He produces a file from underneath his coat and passes it to you. This is our troublemaker. You open the file and see some printed photos. You freeze up as you recognize the face and are overwhelmed by a flood of repressed memories. Newman. Wer ist das? Benjamin Newman. The asshole who made the last few years of your life a living hell. Ach, mein Boss wahrscheinlich. The sexual harassment, the mobbing, the way he kept delegating all his obligations to you without even letting you reap the fruits of your work. The way he stole your soul. Goddamn prick. You look up at Kadir, expecting answers. Apparently, your company is in trouble. Lots of financial irregularities, and Mr. Newman is all too happy to testify that the one employee who's just suddenly disappeared is to blame. The story is as fishy as it gets, but your disappearance is being investigated and a lot of people are searching for you. It attracts attention to us, and as such it must be stopped. Must be stopped. Sounds threatening. You dread thinking what he's planning. I'll arrange for you two to meet tomorrow so that you can straighten the situation out and say goodbye to the life you have forsaken. He'll arrange what? Your eyes must look like saucers right now. Usually these matters are left to my discretion. I can't think of an easier solution. The lost sheep reappears, taking care of unfinished business, disappears never to be seen again. Nobody cares. It's simple, it's clean, no contrived schemes, no unnecessary victims. And it gives me an opportunity to learn more about you as I watch over when neonates interact with kind they used to hold dear. Their true nature is laid bare for everyone to see. Of course he's got business in being kind to you, or he's making it clear he's got self-serving intentions so that you don't start figuring those out yourself. Any objections? Any alternatives are probably worse. You shake your head. Very well, I'll arrange a meeting and drive you there tomorrow. Better come up with a load of bull that's easy to swallow. He disappears from the apartment, leaving you as confused as the last time he closes the door on you. God damn it, you need to think it through. Newman. For a long time you just sit in your haven, lost in your thoughts, thinking about how to revenge is a dish best served cold. Und da sind wir nun wieder. Und tatsächlich sind zwei wieder aufgetaucht. Es hört niemals auf mit dieser Geschichte. Und wir können noch eine machen tatsächlich, aber nicht mehr in dieser Folge. Ich denke, diese Folge war ja von der Länge her ganz okay. Und ich würde mich freuen, wenn ihr beim nächsten Mal wieder einschaltet und es wieder heißt Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York. Bis dann.